Hello, fellow writers. Raven here. This is going to be the start of what I like to call the Writers Dogma. I go into this topic where I've seen it multiple times of different writers, not as often, but some professors give these rules of writing that very much depend on the person. And yet they share it in a way that is almost religious. And I've seen it from both sides on most of these topics, where one will teach you gotta do it this way, the other will teach you gotta do it the other way. And that's what's so ironic about it is how, with something like writing, where it's an art, are you gonna go and say your way of doing it is the way you have to do it? What I'm gonna start with is one that I first saw while I was reading a couple books by different poets. And when I first saw it, it really leaped out at me because it was very much telling me I was doing it the wrong way. It's the weirdest thing, but you'll hear some tell you you should throw out your previous writing that you're not using. And others tell you you need to keep all your writing. I say, your choice. What do you find helps you better? See, as I've talked to other writers, as I've been reading other things, and even with my own experience, I see benefits to both of them. I see reasons for one side saying, yeah, get rid of them, and another side saying, no, keep them. I see reason on both. So the question is, what helps you? When you throw something out, when you get rid of it, you may be doing it because of how disappointed in it you are. Well, that's why it can be good to throw it out. Is this former work going to weigh down on you? Make you feel more doubt that you can write well? Make you feel more concerned that you're never going to be able to get it right? If so, yeah, maybe you should throw it out. Maybe you should make sure that's not going to just hang over your head and haunt you. But on the other side, I personally try to keep everything I write. Sadly, I've lost some, but for the most part, I try to keep all of my files. I try to keep what I've written as far back as when I started. Why? Because it's great every now and then to go back and read them. Because it can be encouraging. Not because of how good they were, but because of how much better the later stuff is. When you are having trouble writing something well, when you feel like you're not quite getting to that point, and it's just not what you want it to be, sometimes you go back, you read the earlier stuff, you can find stuff that's worse than what you're writing at the moment. And that can be encouraging, letting you know, one, it's not as bad as you seem to think right now. Two, if you've improved that much, you can probably improve this to the point that you want it to be. So there's a benefit to each. There's no reason you have to do one or the other. And yet, I've read some authors who seem to be rather dogmatic about you have to be rid of it or you have to keep it. Decide what you need. Don't look for what the rule is. Look for what the benefits are to each. And look at which one you'd be able to use better. That's what most of the concepts I talk about as Writers Dogma are, is a matter of preference But the problem is some authors find it did so much for them, was so beneficial or so necessary that they make this bad assumption that everybody should do it that way. That is always a bad thing. You should never assume everything should be this way, especially when you're dealing with art. Now, one thing that can also be tricky with this, sometimes it's better to go somewhere in the middle. Maybe you'll throw out ones that are very similar. Say you've got 3 different versions of what are almost the same poem. Maybe you don't need to keep all of them. Maybe you can get rid of one of them, or maybe even 2 of them, and just keep the other. That may be where you draw the line, is saying, just don't get rid of everything like this. Keep this as an example of this form, this style, this concept, but don't keep all of them. So you can go down that road, and that can even be better if maybe you need a bit of both. Maybe you don't want to keep the earliest because those are the ones that are going to make you just feel more shame than anything. But you do want some of the earlier ones to let you see how you're progressing. Or maybe you want to get rid of some of the slightly later ones because really those are going to show you more errors. But if you go and you look at the first ones, it just shows you just how big of a leap you've taken to get to where you are. So it's very much each person individually. You can't say it's one or the other. It's wherever you need to be. What is going to give you more motivation for your next writing? What is going to make your next one better? What is it that's going to help you maybe solve issues in your writing? What's going to maybe help you see things in your writing that you need to change? Go by that, because it's different for everybody, because everybody has their own style. So whenever somebody is helping you with your art, helping you with your writing, painting, whatever it may be, if they've got their method, their way of doing it, and they try to kind of force it on you, consider other ways. Consider what they're telling you to do and compare it with other possibilities. Figure it out for yourself. Never take something that is treated as so universal and obey it. That should never come around. I'll never forget one lesson we had in a writing course I had in college. I wish I could remember which story it was, who wrote it, but I'll never forget the day we read it. This story had massive paragraphs that were single run-on sentences. A basic rule of writing: not to use run-on sentences. Those are a bad thing. Do not use them. That is as solid of a rule as you can have in place. But our professor showed us this to show us somehow, in this case, the writer made it work. I don't care how solid the rule is. When you're talking about art, you can break it if you do it right. You got to be careful, but you can do it. So when it's something like this, where it's nothing more than your method or your preference, and somebody treats it dogmatically as though this is the way you need to do it, do not obey them. Do not let them direct you. Maybe listen, maybe hear what they're saying, but make sure you only listen to the part that matters. Why are they telling you to do it this way? What is it about this that they're so dogmatic about? Find out the reason for it. And then that might actually help you fix the problem or make your writing better. If you just go by the rule, that's not going to help you. I hope that helps some of you. I hope this can be encouragement to anybody who maybe sees that somebody's coming after them about you doing it the wrong way. That's the wrong way. You limit their way of doing it, you're the one doing it the wrong way. Hope everyone's writing goes well. I'll see you guys later, and God bless.